Is it rabbit season?
No.
Duck season?
No.
Earnings season.
Yeah, you got it.
There have been so many headlines about companies who have reported earnings this week. 70 out of the 500 that are expected to report have reported earnings thus far.
So we're early in the game.
We're early in the game.
Yeah.
Less than 1/5 of the companies that we're expecting to see. 60% that have reported thus far have been better than the expected revenue. 84% reported better than expected EPS. We've seen some major headlines come out this week. The reason that we thought we would do an episode like this, Earnings Season Explained, is because there are a few people out there that don't know what earnings season is, why it's important, why it matters.
Yep.
We're not talking about you, we're talking about the person next to you that might not know. The Investopedia definition of earnings season. Earnings season is the period of time in which a large number of publicly traded companies release their quarterly earnings reports. Self-explanatory. In general, each earnings season begins 1 or 2 weeks after the quarter end. So the last month of each quarter would be December, March, June, September. Pretty straightforward, but the market moves quite a bit.
It's all reactionary.
I know you have an experience in earnings season and at your previous job.
Well,
too,
yeah, so, as many millennials are who are in finance, we're all analysts. As a credit analyst, earnings season was interesting in that, I was sitting on a phone all day long dialing into earnings calls and listening in, taking copious amounts of notes, scrupulous notes, heading over towards the end of the day to go through the earnings call, talk about what we would be presenting at the next morning meeting. That's kind of what I would sit and do. And of course, then there would be summaries written not long after by people who had a lot more experience in the market than I did. Yeah. But basically, for me, it was about honing my skills and knowing what to listen to during earnings calls, what to pick up on, what to imply from guidance, and then, kind of trying to compare my conclusions to those of the experts. That's something that I always think of whenever it's earnings. I would be sitting there listening to all of these calls. Every quarter, everyone kind of hunkers down in terms of, being a credit analyst at least, and they're all scheduled on top of each other, within like a week or so. And I know one of the big ones a couple days ago, Netflix.
We talked about streaming a couple weeks ago on this very show. So we talked about streaming, and we thought about where it was going, if it would go anywhere at all, as far as usage is concerned, among millennials and the broader audience.
And one of the things that the CEO of Netflix did say during the call was, if you think about the last 30 days and what you were watching when you weren't watching Netflix, or what you were doing in your leisure time to entertain yourself, that should give you an outlook on the scope of competition that is in their space. You can think of a lot that you've been doing, like Candy Crush.
They're right.
Amazon, one of the highlights of that, they were talking about the success of Echo and Alexa. I read a piece on Bloomberg about, basically the period between, production and actually, shipping. Alexa made huge changes to the product itself. And Jeff Bezos made some last-minute calls, with that team. It's called Lab 126.
Lab 126.
That's like their moonshot team. I think that's great.
Okay.
1 is A, Z is 26.
26. Oh, for the
Lab
alphabet.
A through Z. My roommate has one.
Okay.
Her family loves it. Want one? I mean, it's just to kind of know what everyone else is.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
My parents have one. I mean, it's not a gimmick. It's,
obviously not.
And one of the things that catches my attention with it is what happens when people start to use this with their investing strategy. Say, if something happens within the market, go ahead and trigger a sell order or a buy order for me.
One thing that surprised, maybe the developers of Alexa knew that this would happen, but one thing that was surprising was that so many companies came up with software that was compatible with Alexa.
Yeah.
So, like ordering pizza, for example. Who knows? Maybe one of those robo advisors and things like that. They could be designing software for something like this.
One of the best things that I asked Alexa one time was, Alexa, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Did she understand?
She gave me an answer.
What'd she say?
She gave me a legitimate answer. I can't remember it now. I was so dumbfounded by the fact that she actually answered it. For anybody that's watching, try her out. Ask her a few different questions and ask her what the market is doing today. That'll be really interesting to see how that transitions. So I know we have to wrap, but I think one of the resources that you can use for earnings season and finding out more information on exactly who is reporting, what's coming up, of the other 4/5 of companies who are yet to report, NASDAQ.com/earnings, and there are also a few other resources from our good friends at Yahoo Finance, Google Finance that I'm sure are out there as well. So thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.